Welcome back to redheart.com as well as the Crochet Crowd. I'm your host Mikey, and today we're going to explore another version of a granny square. And now this version looks really interesting, doesn't it? Now I'll tell you, my assistant Colleen was over and we were looking at stuff on Pinterest and Facebook, and we noticed that many people are using this particular concept for now doing granny squares. So people are expanding themselves from beyond the regular traditional granny and going to a spoking effect. Now I noticed that most people that are doing this, they're not changing the color of yarn, and in fact this is one of those wonderful concepts where I have color transitional yarn. This is James C. Brett here, and this is the Red Heart Midnight. Has a bit of sparkle to it, and the colors also transition slightly in it, and because of that you end up with a really amazing square. So when Colleen was over, I said, you know what, I've seen something like that before, and I happen to remember the pattern. It was called the monkey around the baby blanket pattern, and I pulled it up and I showed her and I said, yeah, see, this is trending because this is a brand new pattern available on redheart.com. So I was looking around and I see more and more people are doing this concept. So today I'm going to show you how to do it, because I tell you, I was looking at the instructions and really getting off to the wrong start. So today's tutorial, I'm going to take you through this pattern and show you how to get started the right way. And then once you do your first one, you might struggle through the first one, but once you do it, you'll realize that it's so easy that the next ones that will come along will be much easier. So let's begin right now. So let's begin. We're going to start off with a slip knot, and I'm going to be using a size 6mm size J crochet hook, and I'm using Red Heart with Love today. To begin, I'm using the monkeying around pattern for the bases of the spokes. You may see other spoke versions, but this is the one I'm using. So I'm going to chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and let's join it to the beginning chain to form a ring like so. Now let's pull it together, and essentially you have now a ring, and I want you to lay the straggler down around the ring as if it's part of it. So let's move along to the first section. Let's begin round number 1. It's very simple. We're just gonna simply just chain up 3, 1, 2, and 3, and we want to put 11 double crochets around the center of the ring, and leaving that straggler on top, we'll trap it underneath. So what I'm just gonna do is I'm going to do 11. So the chaining of 3 in the rules of crochet counts as a post going all the way around. So in actual fact you will have 12 of these by the time you're done. So I have 4, and I'm gonna have 5, 6, and 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And I'm going to join this with the top of the beginning of the chain 3 to form the final circle. So let's move along to round number 2. So round number 2 is really simple, but this is part of the problem that I had to when I was doing the sample, so I'm actually laughing at my own stupidity. So what we're doing is that we're going to chain 3, so 1, 2, and 3, and we are going to do a front post double crochet onto the same, where you've attached it onto the same post underneath. So we're gonna wrap going in behind the post, back out the other side, pull the yarn through. Now you have 3 left on your hook, so you're gonna pull through 2 and 2. Okay, so that's how we're gonna do it. So this whole round we actually are doubling it, and essentially every one of these posts around are gonna have a front double crochet onto it. So we're gonna come to the very next stitch, which will be the next post, and we're going to double crochet. And before you can move along, you go and you put a front post double crochet onto that same one underneath, just like so. So you carry along, and each one stitch is gonna get a double crochet, and then the post on front of it is going to get one as well. So this is like normally in circles that you would put 2 double crochets into the same stitch. In this case what we're doing is we're putting 1 in, and the second one is going around the front of the post of the row below, of the round below. So we're just going to continue to do that all the way around. So when we come back I'll have that done, and we'll move you on to the next part of this tutorial. So we're coming all the way back around, and I'm just going to be doing the very last one. Here's a tip. The front post that you're going to be working on will always be your last stitch when it comes to working with this particular idea when you're doing the spoking. So it'll be the very last and you're going to join it. So no matter where you are in this circle as you're working through the rounds, this front post is always your last, and once you remember that, it'll grow evenly. If you do get that wrong, what happens is that you end up with a larger gap or a smaller gap right where you started and stopped. So let's begin, and we are going to move up to the next round now. We're going to chain 3. And we're going to put in a double crochet into the top of this post, okay, and then the next one is around the front of that post. So you see it's working the same stitch. It's how it's increasing properly. So now what we have here is that you see that there's 2 posts. So you've got the one in behind and the one in front. So what we're going to do is we're going to put one in each, and then what we're going to do then is then put another one into the front of the second one. And so let's put in a double crochet, so into the next 2, and then a front post into the next one that's in the front. You're going to start seeing these ridges starting to lift off now. So let's begin the next one. So the next 2 are in a double crochet, and once you got that one in, this one here matches that one, therefore you're ready for the front post double crochet. So please do that all the way around. So 2 double crochets in a row, and then the front post is on the second double crochet to bring it to match it. So let's do that. I'll come back in just a moment. Okay, so we're coming back all the way around, and I'm gonna finalize off the final stitches here. Double crochet, and this second one should be over top of this one here. It becomes more obvious once you get beyond this round. So that's your front post there, and now we're simply just going to attach it with a slip stitch to the beginning of chain 3. So now you can really start seeing that the layers are starting to happen, and now let's move up to round number 3. So let's begin our next round, and what we're going to do is chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and the next 2 double crochets in a row, which will be this one plus the front post and the row below, will be double crochets each, 1 each, and then obviously then the one that is over top of that one is your front. So this is your front post double crochet again. Okay, so you essentially have 1, 2, and 3, and then a front post. And the reason why I say that, that's how I keep count. So let's try that. So double crochet 1 and 2, and I'm not moving my thumb so you cannot see. 1, 2, 3, and look, that third one is right above that front post. So if you can do that, it makes it so much easier for you to think about this. So again, 1, 2, and 3 is over top of that next post from the rounds below, and we do a front post double crochet. So continue that all the way around for this one. So I'm coming up all the way around, and again 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to, that third one should be over top of the final post, and we're just going to join it with the slip stitch. So we have one more round to do of these spokes before we carry on to create the final square. So let's move along to the next round right now. So this round begins very easily. Again, chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and we're going to double crochet, and we're going to double crochet 3 times, and then we're going to come in here, so the front post. So let's do that. So the first one is 3 times because your chaining of 3 counts as 1, and so technically it's actually 4. And so when you read the next part of this pattern, you would like wonder why it was 3 and not 4. So once we get our 3 in, we're right above that post from the below. So let's do that. And so here's what we have. So we have 3 in a row, 1, 2, and 3, plus this post, which is your 4th, and then that's where your additional goes on to. So let's just remember that. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and that takes you right above that post, just like you see. And what we have here is that we front post around that one. So that is the answer of 4. So let's begin that again. So 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and that takes you right above that post again, and then that's the one that gets it right there. So carry along that same pattern, and you'll see that the spokes are really starting to grow out nicely. So I'm coming all the way back around and just finalizing off the final few stitches, and this round is then considered complete. So I have my 4 in there, and then the last one is the front post double crochet and then join it with the slip stitch. So in the next 2 rounds we're going to start transforming this. The next round actually starts transforming this completely to a square because right now it's a complete circle. So let's do that next. To begin the next round you'll notice that there's a circling line going all the way around it. That's caused from this because we're gonna work on the back loops going for this entire round. So let's begin. We're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and as per the pattern that counts as a treble. Okay, so let's begin. We're going to do a double crochet, so I'm gonna take it through the repeat pattern. So double crochet, the next one will be half double crochet into the next stitch. I'm going into the back loops and then single crochet. So this is actually the very corner. So we started off with a treble, double, half, and now we're going to do singles. So singles in for 1, and we want to put total of 9 singles. So that was 1 and then 2 and then 3, 4 and then 5, 6, 7 and 8 and 9. Just like so. So now we're gonna start doing a point of this of the corner of the square. So to grow up again we need to do half double first. The next one will be a double. And then the next one is a treble. So wrap and in. Okay. So now we're going to turn the corner. So we have to chain 2, 1 and 2, and then we want to come into the very next stitch for a treble. So wrap and just finish it off, and then the next one is a double. The next one is a half double. So you see that we're getting smaller and smaller so that you're getting a point of the corner of the square. And now the next 9 are going to be single. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9, just like so. And now let's begin another corner. So we're gonna half double, we're going to double, we're going to treble, so wrap and chain 2, and then go into the next stitch for wrap, it's a treble. The next one is a double, so we're gonna get smaller. The next one is a half, and now we do 9 again. So continue to do that all the way around. You can see now it's actually transforming it right into a square. So I'm coming all the way back around. I've just got my 9 single crochet. So this is the start of the corner going in that direction. So we want to start the corner coming this way. So we're going to do a half double, and we're going to do a double and a treble, and look at that, you end up in the last stitch that you should. That's not camera tricks people, that's actually counting. And then 1 and 2, and then join it to the top at the beginning of the treble on the other side. So we have one more round to go, and that'll conclude off today's granny square. To finalize off this round we are going to simply chain 1 and then put in a single crochet into the very first one, and a single crochet into every stitch, not into the back loops but just into a regular stitch going all the way around. When you get to the corners you're gonna have a chain 2 space, but in order to turn that corner you need to put in 5 single crochets. So I'm just matching every stitch around, and you can see an entire blanket would not really take that much extra time. It's a little slower than a traditional granny square, but the looks are a lot more superior as far as I'm concerned. So it's worth the effort. You know, effort in is effort out and whatever. So we're now on the corner, so 5 single crochets. So basically, you know, you put in so much time into your Afghan. Sometimes I wish that I would change, or you know, if I'm willing to spend in 40 to 60, 100 hours on something, I wish that I would put in that extra few minutes per square in order to get a really cool project. So that was 5, and then we just simply continued to single crochet. So every corner we'll get 5 single crochets. When we come back we'll finalize off the square together. When you get all the way to the final corner you just put in your 5 single crochets, and then we just simply join it to the beginning of the single crochet there to finalize off, and that concludes undoing these spoked granny squares. Absolutely beautiful. It's just a great concept. You can see the back looks great too if your afghan's ever turned over, and this is really amazing. Till next time, I'm Mikey on behalf of redheart.com as well as the Crochet Crowd. We'll see ya.